morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to our debut edition of DDM TV Morning Show, your daily close of truths, clarity, and thought-provoking conversation. Today is 22nd of July 2025, and as always, we're coming to you live from 9 a.m. Nigerian time every Monday through Friday to dissect the headlines that shape our nation and the world beyond. I'm your host, Ibrahim Umaruase, and with me in the studio this morning is my ever-energetic and insightful co-host, Tuchukwu Raphael. Good morning, Mr. Tuchukwu Raphael.
Good morning, Ibrahim Umaruase, and good morning, everyone who has joined us in this program this morning. Thank you.
Good morning, and also joining us, he'll be joining us from London studio is our trusted legal analyst and sharp mind on international affairs, Mr. Daniel Elumba. I don't think he's with us now, but he will join us soon. So on today's show, I would like to say it's nothing short of explosive, packed with hard-hitting issues and critical political developments that demand our attention and analysis. Here are the headlines. Kemi Badenoch sparked outrage. The UK politician has stirred controversy by vowing to strip Nigerians of UK citizenship if she becomes Prime Minister. What does this mean for the Nigerian diaspora, and how should we respond as a people? Second of all, there are renewed calls to address the inflammatory statement made by Edo State Governor Monday Okpebholo against Peter Obi. We will explore the political implications and the growing demand for accountability. Last but not the least, Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan versus Godswill Akpabio's saga continues. Amidst Senate's power struggle, Natasha declared her intention to resume office on Tuesday, 22nd July 2025, defying Senate President Akpabio's warning. What does this showdown mean for legislative independence? Grab your coffee, plug in your earphone, and join the conversation. DDM TV Morning Show starts now, where facts meets fearless analysis. We'll go on a short break. We'll be right back. So thank you once again. This morning we begin with a deeply unsettling statement from UK conservative politician Kemi Badenoch, a woman of Nigerian descent who has declared her intention to make UK citizenship harder for immigrants if she becomes Prime Minister. But what has shaken many to the core is her justification. She claimed that her own children cannot become Nigerian citizens simply because she is a woman. A statement not only inaccurate under Nigerian law, but one that exposed a troubling mindset toward her African roots.
So you say to somebody who's coming from Nigeria and wants to create a little mini Nigeria in Britain?
No, that is not right, and Nigerians would not tolerate that. That's not something that that many countries would accept. There are many people who come to our country, to the UK, who do things that would not be acceptable in their countries. It's virtually impossible, for example, to get Nigerian citizenship. I had that citizenship by virtue of my parents. I can't give it to my children because I'm a woman. Yet loads of Nigerians come to the UK, stay for a relatively brief period of time, acquire British citizenship. We need to stop being naive, and that's why under my leadership we now have policies to make it a lot harder to just get British citizenship. It's been too easy. It's basically a conveyor belt. We want people who have who want to come to our country to be net contributors, not people who will immigrate and then need welfare, need social housing. That's not right because they haven't paid into the system. So there is a lot that I'm changing on policy that is suitable for the times we live in. We could get away with these things before the era of mass travel, before mobile phones, before small boat crossings. There's just the global mass migration, which we're seeing that's very destabilizing. They didn't have that in the 80s and the 70s and the 90s. We need rules that work for today.
Kemi Badenoch, pleasure to have you on.
Mr. Tuchukwu Raphael, let's start by asking, What does Badenoch's position signal to aspiring African immigrants?
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Ibrahim. I want you to confirm I'm being heard.
Yes, loud and clear.
All right, thank you very much. The issue of Kemi Badenoch has been trending since a day before yesterday. She's known for making statements against Nigeria since she became the leader of the Conservative Party in the United Kingdom. So the recent statement she made is not a surprise to many who have been following her. But one thing I want to point out here, I want to make a balanced argument here. What she said about her children not being citizens of Nigeria by virtue of her gender is wrong. Everyone has recognized that it is wrong because the Nigerian Constitution is very clear on that there are so various ways by which one can be a citizen of a country. You can be a citizen of a country either by birth or by descent. That is, if your parents were born in Nigeria, even if you are born in a different country, you automatically are a citizen of that country. So Kemi Badenoch's statement is wrong. Many people would, interpret it within the political perspective. Badenoch is somebody who is very hungry for power, of course. She desperately needs to be the Prime Minister of the UK. It is something that will become unprecedented if that happens. So her statement is flowing from political perspective. That is understandable. So that is one aspect of it. She has made a lot of false claims, and this is one of them. And this portends danger for future immigrants, both Nigerians residing in the UK and Nigerians who aspire to travel to the United Kingdom in the future. And she is also modeling the policies of the President of the United States of America, President Donald Trump. You all know that Trump, since the second term of him began, he has been championing this America First policy. So he wants America and the benefits, the resources of America to be only for Americans. So that was why he imposed strict policies on immigrants from virtually every country of the world.
Mr. Trasin, I understand your stand, and rightly so. The number one primary rule of her, if she becomes UK Prime Minister, is the UK citizens first, and nobody is against that. But her claim is at best incorrect, and baseless and unfounded at worst. Because let me quote the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, 1999 amended. The section 25 of the Constitution provides for citizen by birth, as you rightly said, and it recognizes three categories of persons under this section. They are subsection A, every person born in Nigeria before the date of independence, either of whose parents or any of whose grandparents belongs or belonged to the community indigenous to Nigeria. B, every person born in Nigeria after the date of independence, either whose parents or any of whose grandparent is a citizen of Nigeria. And third, every person born outside Nigeria of either whose parents are citizens of Nigeria. So that's clearly based on subsection C. Her parents, her children are citizens of Nigeria by birth. And don't forget, citizens of Nigeria by birth are entitled to even contest for the seat of the number one citizen, that's the president. So why the lie? because that clearly make people question her reputation to hold this #1 seat. Is it desperation for power or a deliberate attempt to tarnish the reputation of her roots?
Well, like I said before, she is desperate to become the prime minister. The prime minister is the strongest person in government of the United Kingdom because the prime minister holds the executive power in the UK. So that is not in doubt. But having a balanced argument involves, considering the aspect we have established and also the fact that some of our claims or some of her concerns are genuine. Nigeria has been known for a long time as a place where is a quintessential bad leadership. I don't blame her. I am not blaming her for anything she says. I think I should blame, okay, all right, anyone in government of Nigeria that is criticizing her for what she said, I think the person has no moral justification or authority to criticize her, unless you are a journalist like Rufai of Arise Television, and but anyone who is in the government of Nigeria who criticizes her, that person should not be doing that, because some of our claims that Nigeria is a place where the leadership of the country is, continues to weigh heavily on the masses. But one thing we must establish that she lied. But the context in which this lie is flowing is not only political, but also it points to the fact that Nigeria needs to be refurbished, needs to be revived politically and in terms of governance. That is my stance. So if you have to be criticizing, I'll be balanced in your argument so that I won't have any problem with you.
Yeah, definitely. There is clearly a balance. I belong to an old school of thoughts that I am for truth, no matter where it comes from. I'm for the rights, not the popular opinion. So definitely, I've never criticized, based on personal principle, I've never criticized Kemi Badenoch for her stance. She said she doesn't consider herself as a Nigerian. She identifies herself more as an Igbo woman than she identifies herself as a Nigerian. I understand her plight and I understand her grievances, but it is totally wrong for you to lie against a group of people. And I'm totally against generalization. It is unethical, it is immoral, and clearly condemnable for someone to generalize a particular group of people and stereotype them with a particular thing, because the dangerous part of it is it will bring a stigma. That stigmatization is the fact that everyone will start seeing this particular group of people as the problem, and seeing these people as the problem will give a justification to some extent to even maybe justify whatever you do to them. Let me give you a glimpse about history. If we're going to trace back to what happened, the worst genocide in modern history happened in Nazi Germany during the Second World War. What justified the Germans to kill the Jew was the fact that they look at the Jew as a lesser human. So if you look at someone as a lesser human, you clearly and unapologetically do everything to him without feeling any iota of consciousness, because he's not an equal human to you. So that demonization, that's the path for demonization, demonizing Africans, because if she demonized Nigerians, by extension, she's demonizing the whole of Africa, is strongly condemnable. Why would she lie? Because clearly, I know it is not born out of ignorance. It was born out of hatred. And if you hate these people to that extent, your very roots, I think it is it is better for her to remain silent rather than utterly and brazenly coming out to criticize using lies. Because this is a lie, isn't it?
Of course, but let's allow some other persons in the room to give their own perspectives. Mr. Kelvin, you are muted, please.
Okay, let me quickly finish up because I think my network threw me out. I think I can see our colleague in Abuja, Akol Christian, who wants to talk about that main issue about Kemi Badenoch. Kemi Badenoch, I believe, we've had controversial statements from her in past. You remember the first one where she had a spat with the vice president and some other controversial statements she made. I want to believe that maybe she's just acting like a politician. Politicians, most of them at the time during election or close election want us to believe what they say. But that statement is very controversial. I don't think it goes down well with the Nigerian populace that she will not allow Nigerians to get visas when they come to the country. So I'll look at it that way. But most Nigerians actually are not happy with the utterances she made, even if she wants to get into the fray of British politics. She seems to be auditing her main country where she comes from the most. But I would just want to look at it that way. But I just want to pray that she doesn't do it so much that it hurts her relationship with the country where she comes from. Because no matter how you look at it, at the end of the day, she'll always come back home. That's just my take on it.
Thank you, Mr. Kevin, for your contribution. And clearly, that's also my stand. But that begs the question: how do we protect our dignity in global politics? Because perception is power in global politics. How people perceive you is surely how you are. And clearly, because of that, that's why African countries are never taken seriously, because we doesn't stand for anything on the global stage. We clearly accepted that we are inferior race, we are inferior countries, we have nothing to offer. And that perception creates a larger narrative in the global north that people of the global south are backward, not just backward in their infrastructure and governance, but also backward in their mentality and the way they think of themselves. Mr. Tochukwu, how do we protect our dignity in global politics?
It's very simple. In order to protect your dignity, you have to respect yourself first. Before you want, if you want other nations to respect you, respect yourself first. And how do you respect yourself? You respect yourself by making sure that your national interest is protected. And when we talk about national interest, I don't just mean your relationship with, other nations who share the same political ideas as you. For example, the United States, your relations between Nigeria and the United States, or between Nigeria and the UK. No. National interest, the first element that makes up the national interest is the people within your borders. How do you treat them? What are the policies you have put in place to ensure that these people, have good living standards? Because if you don't do all these things, how do you expect other nations to respect you? That is why we have xenophobic attacks elsewhere. When Nigerians travel to South Africa or to the United States, they are being maligned. They are being, trampled upon because the people there don't see us as valuable. We have nothing to offer. We just go there. We just go there to eat the ones they have in the country. We have nothing tangible to offer. We have no skills at all. Now, more than 50% of those who travel outside the country have no purpose. There's only very few of them who travel to, overseas for educational purposes, for, those who have acquired the skills or those who have purpose. But the greater percentage of Nigerians who travel outside the country, they are directionless. So the first thing I would say is that the government of Nigeria, the duty to make Nigeria a big nation in terms of international standard lies in their hands.
Thank you, Mr. Tochukwu Raphael. What I believe about international politics generally, not just international politics, but the way governance is carried out, is the fact that government is an entity. It includes the governed and the government. And you know, the co-tenet of democracy is ruled by the people. So I strongly agree with you that the government are the primary people to be blamed, or the first point, the focal point we are to hold accountable for what is happening currently. But there is something that is that we also should acknowledge, the fact that the citizens that are living in Nigeria to go abroad, even if they are directionless, as you said, you claim, I think most of them are not criminals. When they went there, they offer services to the people there. So that brings me to the next question, and I think our able legal mind is with us, and I would like to invite him from our UK studio, Mr. Daniel Elumba. You're welcome. Mr. Daniel Elumba, are you with us?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. I'm just joining, so please let me continue to listen, and then I'll know where we are. Thank you very much.
All right. You're welcome. That leads me to the next question, and I would like to bring someone from Abuja studio, due process. My question is, how should Nigeria and Nigerians respond to such a calculated attack from one of our own? I believe an Oyibo person will never criticize his own the same way Kemi Badenoch used to criticize Nigeria, regardless of what he wants. So what's your response to that?
You are muted. You are muted.
All right, can you confirm to hear me?
Yes, you are clear.
Yes, good morning, the global community joining us live on the morning show. I, for one, have no reason to be angry. When somebody points out your error, it's left for you to have a sit back and work on them. Kemi has always been very, very frank, and to me, is as a result of her patriotism, her love for the country, that makes her to always air out what's wrong back home. She's one of the Nigerians.
Wait a minute. You said patriotism. What's patriotism to you?
You know, love, for instance, when love is not accepted or being appreciated, it turns out to be a sort of hate, so to say. Kemi has always remained patriotic. As a matter of fact, if the country has not let her down, she probably have no reason to be in the UK, for instance. You know how when she visited Nigeria, the police that was meant to protect her stole her shoe and stuff like that. And she made reference to that. It all boils down to bad leadership back home. If she were to be in Nigeria, she would not occupy that position she occupies today. Take it or leave it, that's the fact. The young people are so suppressed by the older generation who never deem it fit to know the time to quit. They always feel they can remain and continue to serve the people until death. That's the Nigerian situation.
That's true. I think we all agree on that. That Nigeria, they call us frustrated youth. Definitely, we are frustrated because of the way these old people are running the country. But the recent Kemi Badenoch claim, let me make a clear background. Her claim is incorrect at best and baseless and unfounded at worst, because she claimed that her children cannot become Nigerian citizens simply because she is a woman. This is a lie, clearly, based on Nigerian Constitution, isn't it?
Yes, she's entitled to her opinion as to whether she wants her children to become Nigerian citizens or otherwise. What is clear is that you and I, are we citizens of this country? Are we being treated like citizens in the first instance? We also have Mr. Peter Obi has been threatened to always take permission before he visits states. He started from Benue. We thought it was a joke. Now Edo has replicated, you know. So as far as I'm concerned, the ruling class are the only citizens of this country. So
exactly.
Her personal opinion as to whether she wants her children to be citizens of this country or otherwise may be subject to her experiences as a citizen before she left the country.
Definitely, I agree with you that she's entirely entitled to our opinion. But lying against a group of people is wrong. I want you to withdraw your statement that she is patriotic, because a patriotic citizen will never lie, can never lie against a country is patriotic, is loyal to. Do you agree on that?
Wait, what's the context of the lie in her statement? Bring me to speak.
She said her children cannot get Nigerian citizenship just because she is a woman. And clearly, according to Section 25 of Nigerian Constitution, this is a lie, because Nigerian Constitution provided for 3 types of citizens: citizen by birth, citizen by registration, citizen by naturalization. And citizen by birth has 3 criteria, which clearly her children are citizen by birth in Nigeria. And don't forget, citizen by birth is the most strongest citizenship in Nigeria, whereby the holder is entitled to contest for the #1 seat in Nigeria, that's the president. So is it an ignorant or a deliberate lie to lure the public because she's desperate for power? That's the question.
In that aspect, I feel like she's overpressing it. She's trying by all means to detach every aspect of Nigerianness in her trace as a person. And to me, that is being taken too far. As a matter of fact, I've always eulogized her speech when it comes to exposing the bad leadership at home, because we want this menace corrected. Again, there's a limit to which we can apportion blames on her, having a sitting president that we are not even sure of his date of birth, we are not sure of his parental lineage, we are not sure of his relative. You know, all these come to play to determine the kind of country we are living in. So Nigeria at the moment is so bastardized that nobody with any reputable integrity would want to be associated to as a country. You and I have witnessed the situation where Nigerians are currently being limited, banned in a number of countries who are no more open to our citizens. All this as well can go a long way to influence our thoughts, our line of thought, as to not wanting Nigerian citizenship for our country, for our children. Because citizenship, in my own best knowledge in Nigeria, is open to all. By birth or by marriage, is open to Nigerians who are willing to accept it.
And her claim is not that she can't get citizenship for her children, but her claim is she don't want. Her claim is she can't. That means she really wants. And I believe the idea of her being patriotic is what I have a problem with, because I believe you are fighting for Nigerian democracy because you still believe in Nigeria. And I would like to quote one long-standing adage that if your one of your hand is rotten, you will not cut it and throw it away because it's part of your body. So we will agree that Nigeria is not becoming holy, but that doesn't change the fact that if you're patriotic, you will criticize the country in the right way. That's positive, healthy criticism, not lying. Because someone who lies is clearly trying to portray the country in a negative way, and worse in an international stage, where in international politics, in geopolitics, we all know that perception is the currency in international politics. So once you turn the perception of a group of people, 200 million people, to a negative light, definitely it will justify everything that these people are going to do to you. And nobody is going to take us serious because she represents the country. She is part of the country. Her name, Kemi, is a Yoruba name. So nobody will look at it as she's lying or something. I would like to invite our international mind for him to share his likeness from London. And clearly, I think he has a better perspective of the idea. Mr. Daniel Elumba, I don't know whether I'm ready.
Yeah, okay, what I want to confirm is whether Badenoch actually said that she will remove Nigerian citizenship she will remove or she will not give British citizenship to Nigerians if elected prime minister. So let's be certain of what she actually said.
She didn't actually say she will deny Nigerian citizenship in particular. She just said she will make UK citizenship harder for immigrants. And she cited an example with Nigerians because she was asked by the interviewer that Nigerians that come here and add up to our Commonwealth, what do you have to say about them? There are a lot of Nigerians that gain UK citizenship. She said that is not acceptable because in Nigeria, I gain my citizenship through my parents, but now my children cannot get Nigerian citizenship because I am a woman. So that's what she said.
Okay, well, okay, I get it now. So she was saying that Nigerian law does not allow her as a woman to pass Nigerian citizenship to her children. And so using it to say that the British immigration law have been far too lenient. And so as Prime Minister, she will make it more difficult for non-citizens or visitors, either from Nigeria or elsewhere, to acquire British citizenship. And therefore proposed stricter, longer routes to British citizenship, especially targeting Nigerians and others who immigrated to UK. Well, it depends on timeline, and now that we have clarified what she actually said, we can now kind of either agree or disagree with her. Let us see what she actually said. On her inability to pass Nigerian citizenship to her children due to her gender, Badenoch actually said this: please remove your WhatsApp streaming. She said, it's virtually impossible, for example, to get Nigerian citizenship. I have that citizenship by virtue of my parents. I can't give it to my children because I'm a woman. On Nigerians easily gaining British citizenship, Badenoch said, yet loads of Nigerians come to the UK and stay for a relatively free period of time, acquire British citizenship. We need to stop being naive. Then on cultural enclaves and assimilation, Badenoch also said, not all cultures are equal. Cultures where child marriage is normal, where gay people are killed, where women are treated as second-class citizens are not equal cultures. And I will not accept that. Load of Nigerians come, create a little mini Nigeria in Britain. No, that's not right. And Nigerians will not tolerate that. On tightening citizenship rules, she said, that is why under my leadership, we now have policies to make it a lot harder to just get British citizenship It's been too easy. It's basically a conveyor belt. I think Badenoch is not properly tutored on how Nigerians behave. And I think what she's doing is to unduly gain the favor of the British right. You know, Western politics, you are either right or left. And most smart politicians try to be in the center so as to get the best of both worlds. But when people who are immigrants get to positions of political power in Western society, they either try to be more Catholic than the Pope. You can see that in United States, for example, where President Donald Trump, whose parentage is German, and who is married to an immigrant, I think his wife is from, is it Slovenia or wherever in former Eastern Bloc, now tries to introduce harsh immigration politics, despite the fact that his own parents immigrated to the United States. So what they do is just for political purposes to attract the right votes, because what is happening in today's world is that nationalism is on ascendancy. Whether in Britain, the United States, France, or Germany, you see right-wing policies because people are becoming more nationalistic and patriotic to their own nation. So they become hostile to immigrants. And so in order to win their votes, they kind of spew out right-wing policies to attract them. I think that is what Kemi is doing right now. So it is wrong to say that Nigerians come into the UK and create a mini Nigerian community and does not assimilate. She does not know who Nigerians are. When I came to the UK in 2003, I know where Nigerians live. Nigerians live, if you are Yoruba, you live, many, not majority, but still say the majority of Yorubas when I came live in Peckham area. Majority of Igbos when I came live in Woolwich area. But still many Nigerians live in East London. So Nigerians live where it's easier for them to go to work. I lived in Stratford because it's easy for me to connect train, underground, buses to go anywhere. Like Stratford is well connected. So I chose to live in Stratford. And many Nigerians live in Stratford. I also lived in Tottenham initially because it is nearer my place of work. I can only use I can cycle to work when I was living in Tottenham. So Nigerians make practical decisions. Where do they go to work? Where do they go to church? Where it is easier for them to buy Nigerian food. You buy Nigerian food in Upton Park, you buy Nigerian food in Peckham, you buy Nigerian food in Dawson, Kingland. So you want to buy Nigerian food. So that helps you to determine. It's not even about do you want to associate with your people. I personally made the decision that I will not live in Woolwich because many Igbos live there. That's me. I said many Igbos live in Woolwich. I said when I go there, I feel uncomfortable. I want to live where I can interact with whites, Asians, Indians, Pakistanis, Eastern Europeans. So I lived in Stratford. Stratford is so diverse. Every nationality lives there. So I think Badenoch is being wrong, but being wrong for political purposes. She does not know who Nigerians are. I think we can even interrogate further whether, as a Nigerian, whether her parents suffered in Nigeria, because she has been saying a lot of anti-Nigerian things, speaking a lot of anti-Nigerian rhetorics. And this is the character of people who have some grudges against the people. So we want to know whether it is actually whether she wants to attract British right votes or whether...
Right, thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Barrister Daniel. You have given us great insights on this topic. We still have two more issues to discuss, and we are running out of time. So let us quickly go into the next topic, which has to do with the Edo State's remarks or threats against former governor of Anambra State, Mr. Peter Obi. No, he has been trending due to his controversial directive that former Labour Party presidential candidate must obtain approval before entering Edo State, citing security concerns and threatening that Obi's safety would not be guaranteed otherwise. So this has been trending. There has been backlash from Nigerian masses and from political commentators. So I want to hear from your perspective. Of course, in the course of this saga, Nigerians brought out a purported WAEC certificate of the governor of Edo State. What is written there is very appalling, especially the government as a subject. He scored E8 in government. And this is somebody who is supposed to be #1 citizen in his state. And look at what he has in his report card. So I want us to talk about this. What do you think about the statement? Is it legal? Is it illegal? And how should Nigerian masses react to this? So let me start with Barrister Daniel Elumba. You are a lawyer, so maybe you help us with that. Let's start with you.
Okay, well, I think that one is that one is easy. That you are a Edo State governor certainly does not give you the right to decide who comes to your state and who does not come to your state. And so he has no power at all to say that Peter Obi cannot come to Edo State for whatever reason. And I think that people are also calling him out on that. So personally, okay, legally he has no right to do so. He has no constitutional right to limit people's movement. As a Nigerian, you have freedom of movement to any part of Nigeria, freedom to reside in any part of Nigeria, and freedom to work or live in any part of Nigeria. And so Peter Obi has that right to visit Edo State wherever and whenever he chooses. And having said that, I think the Peter Obi's followers are already taking him to task on that. So I would like others to comment on this one. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much. Mr. Due Process, what do you think was the motive of the governor of Edo State when he was saying that? What do you think was his motive? Is it political?
The motive of the government is very clear. At the moment, the caliber of leadership, the quality of leadership that we are attracted by the APC is the best that it could present, but not the best of the people. Having an illiterate occupying the government house, of course, what he expects is bound to commit blunders. There's no regard for the Constitution. Neither does he even understand the Constitution. A governor that could not present the budget of the states, he could not pronounce the figures. And how do you expect such governor to have a rethink about the constitutional provision as to his utterances? So he feels he's only having his field day in a garage park where he can easily make pronouncements and it comes to stay. So I'm not surprised. As a matter of fact, I expect more blunder. But this particular attack or threat against Mr. Peter Obi is becoming worrying. Now we have the same situation in Benue State, and it has become a trend. And Governor of Edo State is now copying and replicating the same from Edo State, which is still moved to another state. And the trend will continue, if not forcefully resisted. I believe they are taking undue advantage of the character, the gentility of Mr. Peter Obi. Imagine if Mr. Peter Obi is to explore or mobilize his organic supporters to occupy the street. I believe the governor will not be able to withstand that because he's an unpopular candidate in the state. As a matter of fact, he is an INEC governor as well as a judiciary stamped governor. So he's not the people's mandate, and he does not even command the level of followership that Mr. Peter Obi commands in his own state. So he has to be very careful and watch out for the way he addresses or talks to Mr. Peter Obi. He has no constitutional right to do so. There's freedom of movement, freedom of association, and the Constitution is very clear there is no any form of restriction of the movement of the people of Nigeria across the state. So being a chief executive officer, security officer of the state as the governor does not give him the largesse of the rights to determine who enters the states or who exits the states. No. Being chief security officer is to provide security cover for the people, not determining who enters your states or otherwise. If he has a criminal record or evidence against whoever is entering the state, he should present it than making such a lousy and careless statements of threat of attack. And let's be clear here. Should anything happen to Mr. Peter Obi, he should know that he will never be saved in this life. And not a threat, it's the reality. Because the man followers will be there to always watch out and ensure that Mr. Peter Obi is safe. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, due process. I want to bring back Barrister Daniel Lumba. Please, can you hear me, sir? I want to ask you something. Can you hear me? Barrister Lumba?
Yes, if it's something I can answer.
Yes, there is this common phrase that somebody who is occupying an executive position in Nigeria, whether president, vice president, senate president, they have this immunity. They have this immunity that guides them as long as they remain in office. So, and currently there are individuals, lawyers, who are writing petition against the governor of Edo State. So do you think all these efforts to, have him punished in court or through a court process would yield any fruit at all?
So is your question whether the Edo State governor has immunity to say this and whether he will get away with it?
No, has immunity against any punishment that might be imposed by a court of law in Nigeria?
Yes, as a governor, the Edo State governor has immunity. You cannot, that is, while he remains in office, you cannot take him to court for his actions as governor. He cannot be arrested, he cannot be prosecuted, and the court cannot impose any penalty on him. But when he stops being a governor, then of course you can sue him for infringements he committed in his person. But acts he committed as the governor of a state, he enjoys the immunity in those areas. I don't know whether that is your question.
Yeah, so what I understand from what you just said is that all the petitions that have been written against him now in court, are fruitless. The court cannot do anything against him, or even ask him to pay some compensations to Peter before that utterance. Is that what you are saying?
No, you cannot. You cannot. So if you write a petition to a governor, for instance, where will you send the petition? Will you send it to the Inspector General of Police? Will you send it to the Supreme Court, the Justice of the Supreme Court, or will you send the petition to the President of Nigeria? A Nigerian president has no control over the actions, of a state governor. And like I said, a governor cannot be prosecuted while in office, and the Inspector General of Police cannot impose a penalty on a state governor. Let me just take quickly the provisions of the law. The immunity is provided under Section 308 of the 1999 Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, which states, no civil or criminal proceedings shall be instituted or continued against a person to whom this section applies during his period in office. And who does Section 308 of the Nigerian Constitution 1999 as amended apply to? It applies to the president, the vice president, state governors, and deputy governors. And what does the immunity cover? It covers criminal charges. So governors cannot be arrested, imprisoned, or prosecuted while in office. Civil suits, governors cannot be sued in their personal capacity or compelled to appear in court. Court orders, courts cannot issue orders for their arrest or subpoena them during their terms in office. But what does this immunity not cover? The law says It does not cover investigations. So although prosecution is bad, the law enforcement agencies like the EFCC or ICPC may investigate a sitting governor. However, they cannot file charges until the governor leaves office. Immunity does not protect the governor from being removed by the State House of Assembly through impeachment. So you may actually write to the Edo State House of Assembly to investigate the governor. But then whether they can do that is another thing. But what happens after they finish their term as governor? Once a governor leaves office, they can be prosecuted for any crimes or civil liabilities incurred while in office.
All right. That is very clear. Thank you very much, Barrister Daniel Lumba. Now, is there any other person who wants to give a different insight into this matter?
Yes, the Constitution is clear on the immunity. And I, for one, I would like Nigerians to come together and rally against the immunity clause because it is anti-democratic. It promotes criminality, it promotes corruption, it promotes executive rascality. I mean, you already know that you have been given a cover by the Constitution that against arrest, so you can do anything you want. And after leaving office, you disappear. Nothing happens. So the Nigerian 1999 Constitution, to me, it needs a lot of overhauling, and there is need for the People's Constitution. I don't see the people of Nigeria coming together and designing this type of clause for themselves. That's my submission. Thank you.
A wonderful insight. Thank you, due process. Let's go over to our last topic, which has to do with Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan, who also is trending. She has vowed to resume her duties in the Nigerian Senate today, Tuesday, July 22nd, 2025, despite opposition from the Senate President Godswill Akpabio. Now, Akpoti-Uduaghan was suspended earlier this year over alleged misconduct, but the Federal High Court ruled her suspension unconstitutional, ordering her reinstatement. However, the Senate insists the court's ruling is advisory and not binding, urging her to respect due process and stay away until her suspension period expires. Of course, supporters, including activist Aisha Yesufu, have pledged to stand by her today, condemning the Senate's actions as unlawful and discriminatory. So let us talk about it. Anyone?
Yes, the illegal suspension of Senator Natasha has made a lot of headline during the Covenant People's Parliament, and it's clear the process that led to our suspension and the duration of our suspension stand question in the minds of Nigerians, and it shows the legislative disobedience to their own ethics as an arm of the government. How do you suspend a senator for 6 months? I mean, you have erased the contribution and the representation of the good people of Kogi State from the scheme of things. And it is very bad. It's undemocratic. The APC, the Akpabio, they are not being good. They are not showing any good representation. They are not adhering to the rule of law. If you watch the video, you see how the votes of the Senate were suppressed because Akpabio went ahead to stand on using his authority, not the voting of the people. And the vote that should have even led to a suspension of a senator should not be by voice votes. It should be by signatory. The people have to sign collectively. And the duration should not be more than 2 weeks. But 6 months is where I don't know where the law is coming from. It all shows the lack of respect for Nigerian Constitution. The lawmakers are proven to be the lawbreakers. Thank you.
All right, great insights. Mr. Kevin, this is a war between a man and a woman. Who is the villain and who is the protagonist in this war or in this conflict?
Yeah. We both had it at the beginning of this whole debacle that this look more like a personal war, personal thing between the two than a national issue. But most civil societies and everybody frowned at the fact that it seems as if the lady was actually victimized. I don't know if this particular National Assembly, they're actually listening to the people, but since this democratic dispensation started in 1999, this particular National Assembly is at its lowest ebb, and they are not even making any attempt to redeem themselves, even on internal issues like this, where they are washing their distilling in public. I would suggest that if Akpabio himself had any iota of decency in him, to try and nip this into the board and bring the woman in this instead of continuous fights over tribal issues, because we have a lot of national issues to deal with. To me personally, I don't think they're handling it well. I think they're even worsening the whole scenario by even continuing the fight. She has threatened. He has also threatened that he will not allow her to come in. But let's see what happens today. But I don't see this National Assembly even redeeming itself. They're not even bothered about what the populace will say. They're not thinking about re-election because they feel that when the time comes for election, they will always read their way in. If they had any matter of decency in them, I believe they will try and make sure that this is something that is resolved amicably. But to me, right now, they are not impressive at all.
Great contribution from Mr. Kevin. Mr. Ibrahim, you want to speak?
Yeah, definitely. I would like to start by saying we have a political class in Nigeria that actually don't want democracy. It's either their way or the highway. You know, first and foremost, litigation is the peaceful way of resolving conflicts. And we have been taught in elementary school logic that conflict is inevitable in life. So she passed through the legal process. She is being persecuted for that. The person that allegedly had sexually harassed her is not being punished. Then we have to ask, are we truly living in a democratic society or in total anarchy? Because definitely this is not democracy. If the lawmakers, as due process rightly said, are lawbreakers, if the laws is only applicable on the masses and that is only severe on the masses and not on the political class, then definitely we're living in anarchy. So my call to the Nigerian Senate, the lawmakers, is that they should understand that the rights of Nigerian, and which also includes Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan, is stronger than the seat they hold. So for that, with that being said, they should respect the Constitution of the Federal Republic. We're seeing it day in, day out, time and again, that these people are deliberately violating or trespassing the Constitution of the Federal Republic. And this is sad and very, very sad for people like us who are learning from these people to see the kind of way they are running our country, definitely into a monstrous beast, I would like to call it. Thank you very much. That's my contribution.
All right, Natasha remains one of the greatest women Nigeria has currently. I have so much regard for her courage. So thank you very much, Ibrahim. And this brings us to the end of this edition of Media Morning Show. Today, we unpacked the controversy surrounding Kemi Badenoch's claims on Nigerian citizenship, the renewed calls to address Edo Governor Monday Okpebholo's divisive statements against Peter Obi, and the brewing Senate showdown as Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan vows to return despite warnings. These stories highlight the deep intersections of identity, governance, and justice shaping Nigeria's politics today. Thank you for joining us. Ibrahim Umawase in DDM studio, Barrister Daniel Eloba joining from London, as well as every other person who has joined this program. God bless you. Thank you very much. Don't forget to subscribe to Diaspora Digital Media and hit the notification bell to stay updated on the latest trending stories and in-depth analysis. We will see you tomorrow again for a fresh edition of this show. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
All right.
Thank you so much. Thank you.